Okay, so this is your recap. The first question is you just identifying what you're doing. So if you were to select a sports team, so you have to pick 5 people to be on your team, and you have 15 people. So what kind of thing are you going to be doing? You want 5 people to be on your team. We would be doing a C, because I don't care about their order. I just want 5 people to be on my team. The number of ways 10 people can stand on a podium. So there was 10 people in your race, and then you're going to be awarding a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal. So what are we doing here? Did you pick a P? There's 10 people, and you're going to be permutating with 3, because you could give somebody a gold and silver and bronze, or you could have switched that around, so the order is important on that. 10 people in a line. You're lining up 10 people. So that is a factorial. We're just going to put 10 people in a line. Okay. It also, I would have accepted a P, because 10P10 is actually the same as that as well, because you're ordering with 10 people. Okay, picking an outfit. If you have 6 shoes, 10 pants, and 12 shirts, and you have to pick that outfit, I would accept 2 answers here. I would accept combinations or counting, because you would have 6 shoes and you have to choose one. You have 10 pants and you have to choose one. And you have 12 shirts and you have to choose one, which is essentially just 6 times 10 times 12. So that's just a counting option as well. So I would have probably accepted both of those. And here you have a 3-digit lock. So if you have a 3-digit lock and you have to pick numbers, and repetition is allowed for your digits. So what do you do if you can repeat and you have digits to pick from? How many options do you have here? How many digits can I pick to put on my first 10? Then I could have 10, then I could have 10. So which one of those is that? Just a counting thing. Okay, you can't do a factorial, you can't put a P in there, a C in there. Just got to do the numbers. Okay, so how many outfits can you make if you have to be putting on 1 shoe, 1 pant, 1 top? You have 6 shoes to choose from, 10 pants for options, and 12 shirts. So again, we did this before, so we have 6 shoes, and you're going to have to choose one of them. You have 10 pants, and you're going to have to choose one, 12 shirts, and you're going to have to choose one. So that's just an option thing, so 6 options times 10 times 12. Okay, it's not permutations because I'm not worried about the order, like my shirt, pant, top. I'm not worried about switching it to shoes and then a top and then a pant. Okay, so you have 11 players on a ball team. How many ways could you be putting players as a starting lineup versus bench? So how many ways could I have picked the group to put on the field? So at this point, am I worried about my order? No, I'm just trying to pick a group to go on the field versus picking the group to go on the bench. So what am I doing? I have 11 players, and I'm just trying to choose 9 of them to put on the field, and obviously you're putting 2 people on a bench then. So you have 55 different ways you could put a starting lineup to be on a field. Now, how many different ways could I create a batting lineup? So when I make a batting lineup and I write that on my card, does the order that I write people's names matter? Yes. So now I have 11 people, and I would have to try to do permutations with 9 of them. Okay? Or if you're thinking about your batting lineup, the same thing as doing 11 options, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. These are the same thing. That's what the calculation is doing for you. So you have 11 people on this team, and how many ways can you make your batting lineup? So I'm just going to do this 9 blanks here. We're going to make this batting lineup, but I know that I want Jake to be my leadoff. So how many options do I have for my first? Just 1, because I need to put Jake there. John is going to be my number 2 hitter, so I only have 1 option. I already know Jerry's my number 3, and I already know Josh is my cleanup. And then I don't know who I want to put after that. So how many options do I have to put in my 5th position? I have 7 people left on my team now, right? Because I've already put 4 on the card. There was 11 people. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, understanding factorials. So factorials go down in order. So you could see kind of when I was starting something like this, 11, 10, 9, da 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 da. So you always start expanding the bigger one. So that would be 11. So 11 times 10 times 9 and da da da, so on, so on. So 9, da da da, and beyond would cancel this, 9 and beyond. If something in math cancels, what should it be replaced with? What kind of number? If something completely cancels, it's a 1. And then 11 times 10 on the bottom. Okay, so here, which of those two factorials is bigger? N plus 3 is larger than an n, right? So n plus 3, go down. N plus 2, go down. N plus a 1, go down. N, and beyond. If I did keep going, what's below n? N minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3, right? So n factorial and beyond would cancel this n factorial and beyond. And then just an n plus 3 cancel. And I'm left with that. But the word in the question says to simplify this. So what would you do to simplify? What's math simplify mean? I'm going to have to FOIL that out, multiply it. Okay, you're making a 4-character passcode from these options. You have the digits 0 through 9. So that gives me 10 options of digits. I'm allowed to use the letters A, B, C, D, E. So those are giving me 5 options. Okay, I'm trying to do a code and I have to put 4 digits on it. So I'm only allowed to put digits in this password. So how many options do I have? So I would have had 10 options to go there. There's no restrictions, so that means I can repeat if I wanted to. Does the order matter? When you type in a PIN number to your bank card, it's a passcode. So do I just need to put your 4 numbers in anywhere, or to a specific spot? Order matters, right? Okay, so now I'm doing a code with 4 digits, but this time I'm not allowed to repeat any of the digits that I've used. So this one would be 10 options, then only 9, 8, and 7. Okay, how many codes, if you must contain 1 digit, must contain 1 digit in there? Okay, so if there's 1 digit in this, what else would you have? If you were to have 1 digit, then you also must have what else going on? 3 letters, right? You have to have one digit, so then there must be 3 letters in there. Okay, so how many options for a digit do I have? 10 options to have a digit. And I have 5 options for a letter, 5 options for a letter, and 5 options for a letter. Because it doesn't say anything, so I'm assuming I can repeat. Okay, but that's not it. I have to multiply this by 4 choose 1. Why? Because I have to account for this. My code could go digit, letter, 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 or I could go letter, digit, right? Digit, letter, letter, letter. I could go letter, digit, letter, letter. I could go letter, letter, digit, letter. Or I could write this as a letter, 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 and a digit. So what is this doing? It's saying I have 4 of these positions and I'm choosing to put the digit in one of the positions. So that's how many options I have, but then I could also decide which place that's going in. Okay, so 4 times 10, 5, 5, 5. Do you get that part of it? It's a little bit tricky. Does this make sense though, when I kind of lay it out like that? You must alternate between letters and numbers with no repeats. Okay, so I could go like this. I could go letter, number, letter, number. I could be doing that. Or I could have started with a number. I could have gone number, letter, number, letter. I could have done that as well. Those are 2 different varieties, right? If I just alternate, I have to decide I could start with this or this. No repeats. Okay, so how many letters do I have? 5. How many numbers do I have to pick from? 10. Now I need to put another letter, but I wasn't allowed to repeat. So I only have 4. Back to numbers. How many numbers do I have to pick from? 9. Or, so if I started with a number, or there was 10, start with a letter, that's 5, 9, and 4. So you would have to add those numbers because those are 2 different situations that could have happened. Okay, you are putting cups in a line and it's from an identical set. So all the cups look the same except for just the colors. Okay, so when you have these 3 blue cups, those 3 cups look the exact same to me. Okay, so how many arrangements are possible? So this scenario is that all divided by the repeats. Remember that? So how many cups altogether am I moving around? 3, 7, 2. I can move 12 cups around. Okay, just like the word dad, you're moving 3 letters around, but does it really matter to you if you make a switch on the D and the D? Not really. So then I cancel out the repetition of where the blues move around, the reds, and the yellows. Can you practice that type? Because it's important that you do a bracket situation like that. So if you don't put brackets on that, that's not going to turn out for you.
And I did exactly what it says right there.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. 79.
Oh, you know what I did? I think I typed in 10 factorial. Redo. I know, yep, I know that I typed in 10 factorial for some reason instead of 12. That one? Yep, I know what I did. Why was I thinking about a 10? That one matches though?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Okay, so we have a family with 2 adults and 3 children, so that's a family of 5, right? And we're putting them in a picture, a photograph. So there's my 5 people. So in this photograph, I have to put the adults side by side, and I want the children side by side. So I'm going to do this with my groupings. So how many things am I moving around now? I'm only moving 2 things around. I'm going to either have the adult group beside the child group like that, or the only other thing I could do is children and then adults. Then, what could these adults do with each other? Mom, dad, dad, mom, right? I could flip them around. What could the children do beside each other? So this is how many groups you're moving around, and this is what's happening within the groups. So how many groups you're moving around and what's happening within the groups themselves. Okay, so this time it says they're alternating, but you have to start with a child, so it'd be a child, an adult, a child, adult, child. That's how you would be lining them up. So I would have 3 options for children. And then over here, I'd have the 2 options, and then I'd have 1. And then in the adults, when I look at this first spot, I would have had 2 options for the adults and 1. Okay, I just want to do a sidebar over here. What if I had said I want to alternate with 6? Let's just say 3 adults and 3 children are sitting beside each other. Okay? So in this situation, it doesn't tell you who you're starting with. So you can start with anybody. So you could have put anybody in the first position. But then in the second position, how many options do you have? Because you have to alternate. So now, whoever you put here, you have to pick the opposite here. So now there's only 3. So here, I could have put a child or an adult, because I don't know who I'm starting with. But let's pretend you ended up picking a child. Now this is an adult, so 3. So then this would have been back to a child. So now there's only 2 options for children. 2 adults, 1 child, 1 adult. Okay? Or you could have separated those scenarios. You could have done the scenario of what if I start with a child, or what if I start with an adult and then added them together. That would have been the same idea. Okay, the next one, it says the adults are grouped together. So there's my 5 people. And I'm just grouping the adults. So mom and dad have to sit beside each other in this picture. So how many things am I moving around? 4. I could go adults, child, child, child. I could put 1 child, then the adults, child, child. Or I could go child, child, adults. Okay? And then what can the adults do? They can flip-flop. How many groups? What's happening within groups? Okay, now on this last one, the adults don't want to sit beside each other. So the method for this one, you just kind of have to memorize this method, is all minus opposite. Okay, so make sure you know this one. You will not be able to figure it out just trying to make the placements. Okay, so what is the all possible arrangements? So if there's no restrictions to this, what could you do? You could move anybody around. That's the all possible. What's opposite of the adults not wanting to sit beside each other? If they sit beside each other, which is this question. If the adults are grouped together, if they're sitting beside each other, Okay, so this one you're only allowed to go south or east, and you're trying to get from A to B. So give me one way to go straight across, one way to go down. Then you add the corners together. So for instance, this corner has 2 because you could go over down or you could have gone down over. That's the 2 ways to get to that corner. Add the previous corners So I kind of got to a position where there was a 35 right here, and then I'll show you what to do. Okay, so from here, this is just going a straight across. So now you have to carry the 15 over, because if there's only 15 ways to get to this corner, you can only make the same move to get to that. Okay, and then this was 35 to that spot, so you just have to carry the 35 straight down. Okay, and then continue your adding pattern. Good, 270? Okay, on the last one, you're trying to make a 4-person committee, and there's 8 boys, 11 girls available, and you're trying to make 4 people onto your committee. So the first question has no restrictions, so you can pick anybody and get 4 people. So permutations or combinations. I'm doing a combo because my order doesn't matter. I don't care about selecting Jana and then Jaden or Jaden and Jana. That doesn't matter to me. Okay? And you're going to choose 4 people from anybody. So what do you put up front? 19. Because it doesn't matter. Just you pick anybody. Next, you need 2 girls. So I have 11 girls, and I'm going to have to choose 2 of them. And there's 8 boys, and I'm going to have to choose 2 of them. And I'm doing this on the same committee, so it's a multiplier. Okay, this one says you have to have at least 2 boys. So there's different possible scenarios. So you could have had 2 boys on your committee, or you could have put 3 boys on there, or you could have done 4 boys and filled the whole committee with boys. Right? Those are separate scenarios. So what am I going to do with different scenarios? I'll add the situations together. Okay, so if I was to put 2 boys on there, I'm putting 2 girls on there. We just did that one, right? So what's the situation with 3 boys? So 8, choose the 3. But if you're going to do 3 boys, you're also picking 1 girl, right? And if you were doing 4 boys, that's an 8, choose 4. Okay, that's it. You can put 11, choose 0, but it's not needed because it doesn't matter. You're not putting any girls on there. This committee must have all one gender. So there's scenarios again. What could you do on your committee? You could make a committee that's just full of all boys then. Or, what's a different scenario? You could have just been putting girls on the committee instead. So we already did this one right there where we put 4 boys on there. That was that part. And then the other situation, if you were to just put girls on, would be 11, choose 4. Okay, so think about the scenarios that are happening. All one gender, you could have done 2 different options, right? Okay, then this is the last one. You're putting your books on a bookshelf. So it looks like you have 12 books to put onto your bookshelf. And it says that you want to put them chunked with their group category. So it looks like all the romance novel books would have to be chunked together beside each other. The fiction books are going to need to be beside each other. And then the thrillers are going to have to be together. So what is this strategy? I've done it before. How many things am I now moving around? 3. I could go romance, fiction, thriller. I could go fiction and then the romance in the middle, thriller at the end, right? Then what could the romance books do amongst themselves? Amongst themselves, amongst themselves. How many groups? How many are you moving within the groups?